So I did my leader profile on Rosaria Butterfield. She is currently married to her husband, who is a pastor at a Reformed Presbyterian church in North Carolina. She homeschools her children, and she's an author and a speaker. So before she was a Christian, she grew up in a Catholic home, was educated in Catholic arenas, and she was intrigued by the homosexual lifestyle and ended up adopting a lesbian identity. She got her PhD from Ohio State University, and she is active in lobbying for LGBTQ rights as she worked alongside her lesbian partner. When she was researching why it seemed that religious people seemed to hate people who engage in homosexual lifestyles, she was studying the Bible in order to make her points known and all of that. And she wrote an article that was against Promise Keepers and ended up meeting someone named Ken Smith, who became a close friend and a confidant. And she had a lot of questions about the Bible and about things like that and Christianity. And he became her go-to person. They invited her into their home a lot, and as she was reading the Bible for her research, she became a Christian. And so now, in leadership, she is an author who has written many different books. Two of those have to do with her conversion, and one has to do with it, but not, and it's more of her ministry lifestyle. So the first one is The Secret Thoughts of an Unlikely Convert. The second is Further Secret Thoughts of an Unlikely Convert. And then her third one, which I've read, is The Gospel Comes with a House Key. And so some of the last one has to do with hospitality, as the title suggests. She desires people to put their hurting hearts in the hands of Jesus, who can heal them and help them. And so her ministry, she helps Christians better understand how to minister and serve the LGBTQ community. She encourages them to look past their sexual identity, and while admitting and believing that homosexuality is a sin, she still encourages them to look past that so they can see the person rather than the sin staring them in their face. She writes often for Desiring God, Christianity Today, and is featured in several podcast episodes. And she writes and speaks on many different topics. However, it is primarily on ministering to the LGBTQ community and on hospitality. In her story, hospitality plays a big role, and she believes that hospitality can open up the hearts of unbelievers. And she was also a key voice in teaching about hospitality in the church during the COVID pandemic. And she invites people into her home to do life with them, and she allows them to see parts of her life that are hard, and she shows them Jesus through that. And so some challenges that she has faced in ministry. A big one has been just when she's speaking and teaching about how to minister to people in the LGBTQ community. People start asking if you can engage in that lifestyle and be a Christian. And so she has to take that pushback and has to remind them what being a Christian is, and that it is not only believing in Christ as the demons believe in Jesus and shudder, but also is being sanctified after justification. And then one of the things that I took away from this, and just remembering her life, and as I've read one of her books, I was very challenged by that book, but also just reminding myself about who she is, was hospitality. And that hospitality is key in evangelism. And it's true. People need to see what the nitty-gritty details of our lives are, and they need to see how we handle the heartache and the sorrow, but also the joys of this life, because sometimes life's going to be hard, and we all know that, but it's important for people who don't know Jesus to see both the good and the bad.